Good day. Today we're going to make a presentation on AI and as a moral compass. Allow me to share my slides. This presentation, AI's Moral Compass Lessons from the Vatican, is presented by yours truly to address raising concerns about AI and morality. This presentation introduces us to a remarkable dialogue, the Vatican's attempt to chart a moral compass for artificial intelligence. The title signals two important dimensions. First, AI is not only a technical reality, but also a moral horizon. Second, the Vatican, long a guardian of human dignity, is offering wisdom to help steer technology towards the service of humanity. Globally, we see other institutions such as UNESCO, the OECD, the European Union also publishing ethical guidelines for AI. In Asia, countries like Singapore, Japan, and South Korea have likewise integrated ethics into their national AI strategies. In this broader landscape, the Vatican's voice is distinct. It contributes moral and spiritual depth, not just policy or regulation. For the Philippines, a Catholic majority country, this perspective is not foreign but deeply resonant. It asks us to reflect: how will our embrace of AI reflect our values of dangal and kapwa? The context: when ancient wisdom meets modern innovation. The slide sets the stage by showing how Vatican has entered the AI conversation. It explains that this is not unprecedented. The Church has historically engaged with transformative technologies, from the printing press to medical bioethics. The central point is continuity: 2,000 years of reflection on human freedom and moral responsibility are now being applied to the age of intelligent machines. On the world stage, AI is increasingly treated not just as a technical tool, but as a civilizational shift. The United Nations has raised the issue of AI governance. The EU has launched an AI Act, and tech companies across Silicon Valley and East Asia are grappling already with ethical dilemmas. In Asia, Japan emphasizes Society 5.0, a vision where technology enhances quality of life, while Singapore foregrounds transparency and accountability. Against this backdrop, the Vatican's contribution ensures that discussions do not lose sight of human dignity. For the Philippines, situated in a region both rapidly innovating and deeply rooted in tradition, the challenge is similar: to balance modernization with malasakit for people and communities. Here we present key documents, uh, key documents on AI. Uh, the 2024 Vatican AI Guidelines, the Rome Call for AI Ethics, and papal statements on human dignity. These writings articulate the Church's position that technology must always be accountable to the human person. They are not technical manuals, but moral frameworks. Globally, this aligns with international standards. The OECD has adopted AI principles emphasizing transparency, accountability, and fairness. UNESCO calls for inclusive and sustainable AI development. In Asia, South Korea has created a national AI ethics charter. India is debating AI regulation with strong emphasis on fairness and equity. These show a convergence. Different institutions and cultures are searching for universal values in AI. For the Philippines, these frameworks raise the question, how can our policies and practices embody the principle of rights for each Filipino, karapatan ng bawat Pilipino, ensuring that AI protects the rights and dignity of all citizens, especially the most vulnerable, especially the most vulnerable. The human element, our collective responsibility. This slide reminds us that AI is not an autonomous force of nature, but a product of human choices. Every algorithm reflects the values of its designers. Every data sets embodies decisions about what matters. The Vatican emphasizes collective responsibility. The ethical burden cannot be outsourced to technology itself. At the global level, this emphasis is echoed by governments and companies that now speaks of responsible AI. In the United States, accountability frameworks are being drafted. In Europe, clean lines of responsibility are mandated by law. In Asia, Singapore's Model AI governance framework sets expectations for transparency and accountability. Each of these acknowledge that responsibility is human, not mechanical. For the Philippines, this resonates with our cultural ideal of bayanihan. Just as communities share burdens and responsibilities, so too we must recognize that AI ethics is a shared national endeavor, from developers to policymakers to ordinary citizens. Now, we need to define the good for the machine. This slide raises a profound philosophical question. What does it mean for a machine to be good? It explains the tension between different definitions of the good, short-term happiness versus long-term flourishing, autonomy versus collective welfare. The Vatican affirms one non-negotiable: human dignity is always the measure. Globally, this debate is alive in AI policies and philosophy. In the EU ethics framework, stress fundamental rights. In Japan, Society 5.0 emphasizes balance between innovation and human well-being. China, though differently framed, also emphasizes harmony and stability. These show that definitions of the good are culturally shaped, but converge on the importance of the human being. For the Philippines, this debate is not abstract. In education, for example, Should AI merely optimize for test performance, or should it also cultivate creativity, compassion, and kabutihang loob? The challenge is ensuring that AI promotes not only efficiency, but genuine human flourishing. Genuine human flourishing. Which leads us now to the next slide. The impossibility of the problem. The Vatican identifies four difficulties. Just a minute. The Vatican has clearly identified four difficulties. One, moral pluralism. Two, context dependence. Three, the frame problem. And four, conflicting values. AI cannot easily formalize what humans often judge intuitively. And that's something we need to pay attention to. Globally, UNESCO and OECD acknowledge these complexities, urging flexibility rather than rigid formulas. In Asia, Japan emphasizes context sensitivity in its Society 5.0 model, while Singapore acknowledges trade-offs in governance. For us, even ordinary systems like traffic apps reflect this dilemma. Should they optimize for individual speed or fairness to jeepney and tricycle drivers? Ethics requires not only efficiency, but justice, fairness to all sectors in society, which leads us to the core principle. And what is that? The Vatican's uncompromising stance. Human dignity is the bedrock of morality. Progress, while desirable, can never justify treating people as disposable or secondary. Globally, this principle mirrors the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, an EU's framework that forbid reducing persons to mere data points. In Asia, Singapore's AI governance emphasizes trust, while South Korea's explicitly names dignity in its AI charter. For the Philippines, the lessons is crucial in sectors like the BPO industry, where automation threatens employment. Innovation must respect the dignity of the human person, the dangal ng tao, the intrinsic work of each worker. This is why there is a Rome call for AI ethics. The Rome Call is a landmark document where religious leaders, companies, and states pledge to uphold transparency, accountability, and the common good in AI. It symbolizes moral consensus across diverse traditions. Globally, this converges with UNESCO's call for inclusive AI and the OECD's emphasis on accountability. Asia too reflects this alignment. Japan highlights harmony. Singapore stresses inclusion. For the Philippines, the Rome Call inspires us to harness AI for collective needs, helping farmers predict weather, improving disaster readiness, and strengthening education. Such uses embody bayanihan in technological form. But before we even deepen this, let's look at the 6 pillars of ethical AI as it is identified by the Rome framework. Let's look at the first four first. So transparency, inclusion, accountability, impartiality. The two are reliability and security. No? So I think it's better this way so you can consider the 6. Internationally, so like the posts of a Bahay Kubo, each is necessary to hold up the structure. The absence of one risks collapse. Internationally, these principles are echoed in OECD and UNESCO standards. Singapore particularly emphasizes transparency, while Japan prioritizes reliability and safety. For the Philippines, these pillars must guide e-governance and private innovation. Digital systems must not only be efficient, but also inclusive of the poor, impartial in service delivery, reliable in function, and secure from abuse. That's why there is a ban on lethal autonomous weapons. The Vatican firmly opposes delegating life and death decisions to machines. Lethal autonomous weapons strip away human responsibility and violate dignity itself. Globally, debates at the UN continue over banning such weapons, though consensus remains elusive. In Asia, states express caution but still invest in military AI. For the Philippines, with its long struggle for peace in conflict zones, the Vatican's stance is a reminder. Peace cannot be surrendered to algorithms. The sanctity of human life requires human judgment. So let's look at these in terms of two very interesting principles: regulation or innovation. Regulation versus innovation. This captures a central tension. Too much regulation might stifle innovation. Too little risks harm. The Vatican argues that ethical guardrails do not hinder progress. Rather, they enable trust and sustainable growth. Globally, the EU's AI Act reflects this balance. While US pursues sectoral guidelines, in Asia, Singapore's regulates positions regulation as an enabler of trust. For the Philippines, this tension is visible in AI-driven lending apps. Regulation must prevent exploitation while encouraging creative solutions. Ethical oversight ensures innovation serves katarungan as well as growth. But this is precisely where there is an innovation paradox. The Vatican points to paradoxes here. Constraints can breed creativity, trust accelerates adoption, and ethics prevents reckless competition. Not every innovation is worth pursuing merely because it is possible. Globally, Europe pursues human-centric AI, setting limits that foster trust. In Asia, Japan channels innovation towards social benefit, while South Korea emphasizes equity. For the Philippines, this is an invitation for discernment. Should AI drive online gaming or disinformation? Or should it serve climate resilience and healthcare? True innovation seeks kabutihang panlahat, the good for all. This leads us, therefore, to an inquiry about legislative frameworks. This slide contrasts comprehensive approaches like the EU AI Act with sector-specific strategies in other jurisdictions. The Vatican stresses that any framework must be anchored in ethics, not merely compliance. Globally, frameworks vary, but converge on principles of proportionality and even fairness. Asia also experiments. South Korea's national charter versus Singapore's sectoral focus is also something to look into. For the Philippines, a sectoral approach may be practical, beginning with education, health, and governance. Such laws must ensure equal access while protecting the mga nasa laylayan. This is about our collective future. And it poses a profound question. Will humanity shape AI, or will AI shape humanity? Already, algorithms decide what we see, believe, and value. Globally, governments wrestle with this challenge, from the EU's protections to UNESCO's cultural safeguards. In Asia, Japan and Singapore are keenly aware of AI's cultural influence. For the Philippines, the impact is evidenced in elections and public discourses shaped by social media algorithms. The risk is not abstract. Our kalooban, our inner sense of values, can be shaped invisibly unless we intervene. That's the reason why there has to be a sort of feedback loop. The feedback loop illustrates how AI creates a cycle. Design choices lead to behavior, which shifts values, which then feed back into systems. AI does not merely mirror society, it transforms it. Globally, concerns about polarization and echo chambers reflect this cycle. In Asia, societies are also grappling with algorithm-driven disinformation. For the Philippines, this loop is visible in clickbait culture, where algorithms reward sensationalism, shifting norms, and eroding truth. Breaking the cycle demands vigilance and pakikiramdam, a sense of sensitivity to social consequences. This is why we need to push forward a prohibition of discriminatory AI. The Vatican insists that discriminatory AI violates dignity. Bias is not a glitch, but a moral failure that deepens injustice. Globally, fairness, as it seems, is a standard principle. The EU's AI Act penalizes discrimination. In Asia, Singapore highlights fairness in decision making. For the Philippines, discriminatory AI might exclude provincial graduates from jobs or deny credit to small borrowers. Justice, katarungan, must shape AI systems. Why is that so? Because they can do more. They can actually inflict psychological harm. The warning about AI's power to manipulate emotions, foster addiction, or weaken authentic relationship remains there. The harm is not only material, the harm is psychological, the harm is cultural. Globally, concerns about AI's mental health impact are rising, especially in youth populations. In Asia, debates address the addictive nature of digital platforms. In the Philippines, fake news, online chismes, and algorithmic addiction divide communities and erode trust. Ethical AI should strengthen ugnayan bilang kapwa-tao and not simply weaken it. There is therefore a mandate for human oversight. The Vatican stresses human in the loop. True oversight, not symbolic approval. Humans must retain real authority in morally significant decisions. Globally, oversight in a legal requirement in Europe, or oversight is a legal requirement in Europe. Singapore's model emphasizes accountability in decision makers. For us, this matters in governance. Whether distributing ayuda or approving documents, citizens must know there is human judgment behind automated systems. And here we have to push forward for institutional implementations. This slide shows how the Vatican practices what it teaches, applying oversight and documentation to its own AI use. Ethics is credible only when embodied institutionally. Globally, organizations that adopt self-regulation, build trust, matters. Asia too is experimenting with institutional review mechanisms. For us here in the Philippines, embedding ethical oversight in agencies like DepEd or DOH would show that principles are not abstract but lived. Interestingly, Vatican will push forward for the limits of technological solutions. The Vatican warns against solutionism, the belief that technology alone can solve social problems. Issues like poverty, inequality, and bias require political and even social choices. Globally, critics agree technical fixes cannot resolve structural injustice. Asia, too, debates digital divides and cultural gaps. For us, AI may improve agriculture, but without land reform and just wages, farmers remain vulnerable. Technology must serve katarungan, not replace it. And yes, I've repeated that statement twice. So, what do we propose? Shared responsibility between developers and engineers, business leaders, policymakers, educators, citizens, and faith communities. Globally, multi-stakeholder governance is now the standard. Asia likewise emphasizes broad collaboration. This really recalls bayanihan. Just as communities build together, society must build ethical technology through shared responsibility. But is that all it? The Vatican framework, of course, has its own limits: cultural specificity, vagueness, enforcement challenges. Yet its value lies in provoking moral dialogue and guiding reflection. All frameworks face criticisms, especially in the global arena, for being either too vague or too rigid. Asia resists one-size-fits-all solution due to diversity. In the Philippines, this is not different. The challenge is adaptation, bringing in katutubong pananaw and Filipino philosophies to enrich the global conversation. What is the point of convergence? Point of convergence. Despite differences, culture converge on core principles: dignity, transparency, justice, accountability, and the common good. This convergence shows moral universality. In Asia, cultural concepts like harmony, fairness, and collective welfare perfectly aligns with these. In our local concepts, kapwa and dangal demonstrates our own cultural foundations resonating with universal values. Now, how do we move forward from here? From principles to practice. Principles matter only if lived in practice through dialogue, policies, institutions, and cultural transformation. Globally, this means integrating ethics into governance and education. Asia is embedding AI ethics into curricula and policy. For us here in the Philippines, the way forward is to prepare a generation of technologists who embody both technical excellence and malasakit, ensuring AI is makatao as well as makabago. What is therefore the choice before us? The final slide is a call to decision. AI will shape the future. Whether it strengthens dignity and solidarity or fuel inequality and division depends on choices made today. Globally, governments and communities are at this same crossroads. Asia too recognizes both promise and peril of AI. For the Philippines, the choice is especially urgent. Will AI deepen inequality or will it serve kapwa and katarungan? The future is not inevitable. It is ours to shape with wisdom and courage. Thank you very much for listening.